The freaks come out at night. That's why as soon as the sun go down, we outside. Here are 5 must-know things about swinging and banging and flying that thing at night. Let go! Boom! Night flying can be one of the most exhilarating and peaceful forms of flying that you will ever experience in your aviation journey. Everything is very serene and calm, and it can be a very cool thing at night. But there are at least 5 must-know things that you must know before taking flight at night. And we about to get into that thing. Let go! Hey, turn off the lights. Why? Because the freaks come out at night. Believe that. Hey, flying at night is a beautiful, beautiful thing. But we about to get into 5 must-know things that you want to do and make sure you're on top of before you take flight at night. Let's run that thing. Number 1, numero uno, you want to make sure, of course, you check flaps. Flaps is part of the acronym that's used for required equipment at night. If you want a review of all the required equipment for both day and night flight, there's a video on this page. Link at the end of this video where them links be at so you can watch that video and get clearance on terms of what equipment is required for you at both daytime and night. Part of that night version, as you very well know, is flaps. The acronym flaps. You want to make sure you're thoroughly covered with flaps. Boom! Remembering the acronym flaps, think about what you need at night. For night, it's always going to be about required equipment. It's mostly going to be driven by what? Lighting or some sort of lighting source. That's how you can easily remember what's associated with the acronym flaps. For example, the first F in flaps, of course, is fuses. You want to make sure you're good there with backup fuses. The L, of course, your landing light, particularly if the aircraft is for hire. A is for anti-collision light. P is for position lighting. And then, of course, S is for your source of power. Making sure your alternator generator is in good working order. So being on top of flaps first is first and foremost before you do anything else. But here's a little bonus additional tip. In addition to flaps, also check something that's so simple but can be easily forgotten and can be a significant inconvenience if you don't check it. Check your interior lighting in your aircraft. Make sure you understand where it's located and how to turn it on and off. That seems so insignificant, but it can be very significant. Remember, you're flying at night, and even though you have maybe logged a lot of hours in the aircraft that you're in, maybe this is your first night flight. So all that daytime flying that you were doing, you never had to worry about the interior lighting on the aircraft. It didn't matter. So you didn't care about it. Because if you wanted to look for something, like check your flight bag real quick, or maybe look for a piece of paper to write down a clearance or a pen, or search for anything, you had all the light that you needed with just a natural light from the sky. But now, since you're flying at night, you're not going to have that. So at least knowing for any kind of particular reason, knowing exactly where that interior light in the aircraft is located is a must. Add that to your flaps check, and that's numero uno on the 5 must-know things to take flight at night. Let go! Boom! Numero dos, the kind of support in addition to that lighting that you're going to have with knowing where that interior light is on your aircraft. You want to have yourself a white and red flashlight so you can use those very effectively. There are many, of course, headlamps that have the white as well as the red flashlight in them. You want to use them appropriately and make sure, particularly when you're doing your pre-flight, you're checking a lot of different things, whether you're using that white to kind of check the exterior and then use the red light, of course, on the inside of the aircraft while you're flying, because, of course, it can be a lot less sensitive on your eyes while you're flying at night. But you want to have the red and white option flashlight at your disposal at all times, keeping that in your flight bag, and you can just tuck that away in your flight bag, and even if you're flying in daytime, it just stays there. It stays available for you, because you never know when you might find yourself in a nighttime or dimly lit, low vis kind of situation, and you can whip that thing out and run it. Numero tres, it's all about understanding a little bit of biology and how our eyes work, and how it takes a second for our eyes to adjust. You want to know one simple principle about how our eyes, it usually takes about 20 to 30 minutes for our eyes to acclimate to nighttime. And you've probably experienced this. Just think about your non-aviation life. If you've ever been driving down the road and the sun is setting and everything is beautiful, and then maybe 30 minutes or an hour into it, it gets really dark. And your eyes are starting to adjust to the fact that maybe you could see very clearly before, but your eyes are starting to adjust to the nighttime conditions. And let's just say you're driving your car on a nice back road and it's not very well lit and it's dark, how your eyes adjust for a minute. But once they adjust properly, you can see far and everything is good. But it takes a little while for it to adjust. So understanding that is very key to keeping yourself safe. And you can use this to your advantage. For example, if maybe you schedule one of your early or first night flights, schedule it at a time where you have still a little bit of daylight left, particularly while you're doing your pre-flight. So right before sunset, you're doing your pre-flight so you can use the daylight as you go around, and then you can give, while you're doing your pre-flight and get ready to take off, give your eyes an opportunity to adjust to nighttime. This can be very helpful for you. So understanding this one simple principle about it takes 20 to 30 minutes for your eyes to adjust, now you can strategically schedule flights if you have that available, particularly in the beginning when you're just getting acclimated to flying at night. Let go! Boom! Secondarily, you need to know what part of the eye are we using at night. Do we use our cones or do we use our rods? Different parts of the eyes, we use them differently. We scan differently with them. An easy way to remember which one you're using is when you think about a cone, you use your cones in the daytime. And the one way to kind of easily remember that, think about a snow cone or an ice cream cone. You usually enjoy that kind of treat in the daytime, a nice hot summer day when you enjoy a cone, a snow cone, or an ice cream cone. So when someone asks you, what do you use at night in terms of your eyes, cones or rods? You can refer to cones in the daytime, and then of course you use your rods at night. What that means for you is you have to scan the sky differently. Remember, whenever you're flying an aircraft, whether it's day or night, particularly let's focus on day just for momentarily here, you focusing in on the daytime, you're always scanning and kind of just giving yourself 10 degrees. A little bit here, a little bit there, slowly moving your head and your eyes across the horizon and just going about your day, flying that thing, swinging and banging. All good. But at night, you're going to be doing a little bit different. You're going to use a little bit more of your peripheral, and you're going to be a little bit more of off-center kind of sight. You're going to be looking out, but not really, focusing in on any one particular thing. And if you notice something off to your right or off to your left that's a little bit bright, that catches your attention, you may glance over to kind of get a better picture of it. But it's a little bit different kind of viewing that you're doing at night and scanning of the sky than you're doing at night than also what you may be doing in the day. So being aware of what you're using, your cones or your rods at night and your cones in the day, those ice cream cones and those snow cones, again, it's all about being strategic. If you understand a little bit of the science behind it, it can kind of help you out in terms of being more comfortable at night. Let go! Boom! Numero cuatro on the list of the 5 must-know things before taking flight at night. Your altitude. Altitude can be something that you can strategically use to your advantage, particularly at night as a safety precaution. For example, let's just say you flying a flight, and normally you would safely fly this flight and you pick an altitude on your flight plan that you're going to fly it at 4,500 feet. Well, maybe if you're flying this at night, particularly for the first time, maybe you choose an altitude of 5,500 feet or 6,500 feet if available and ready to do so. The reason why is because you want to give yourself a little bit more altitude at night. Altitude is your lifeline in aviation, and you never want to just give away your lifeline. And the reason why you can maybe choose a slightly higher altitude, it will give you a little bit more time to actually deal with any kind of problems. Particularly, let's just say you were flying along at night and you had an engine failure. Whether in daytime at 4,500, you can easily, as you're always flying, you're picking, what would be my best landing area right here? Well, now it's nighttime, and it may be a little bit more difficult to see your best landing area. So the more altitude that you have, the more time that you have to figure it out and kind of work through any problems. So selecting a slightly higher altitude in your flight plan can help you out tremendously, particularly if you're looking to go from one altitude to the next level and give yourself just a little bit more time to scan that horizon when you're looking for the best landing area. Hey, boom! Of course, if you're landing at night, everything is incredibly dark. Some areas are darker than most, and you don't want to land somewhere only to get down close to the ground and find out that really dark area is not a place that you want to be landing. So those are the kinds of things that you can give yourself. Altitude can buy you time, and time is your lifeline in the sky. Let go! Boom! And numero cinco. Hey, number 5 on the list is also a personal favorite of mine, and this one has to do with safety as well. If you're picking a night flight for the first time, you know what is a good option? Pick somewhere that you've already flown in the daytime. Your first night flight to a familiar area. Keep that in mind when you're picking your destination for your first night flight. Maybe you've already flown to this area in the daytime. So when you get up and you fly at night, you're already kind of familiar with your surroundings, but you're also going to see that things look a lot different at night. So it kind of gives you a little bit of sense of comfort because you're not in foreign territory, you're not in a foreign area, but at the same time, you get a chance to see the differences at night versus them being in the daytime. That can be a nice safety precaution, again, as you're getting acclimated to night. It's all about safety, baby. Picking the right altitude, maybe something slightly higher, picking some place that you've already been. Again, understanding how your eyes adjust, having that white and red flashlight, flaps plus that interior lighting. It's all about safety at night because the freaks come out at night. Hey, that's why we outside. Let go. Boom! I am Donovan Batiste. Hey, this is Leadership Mindset. Don't forget to like this video, comment on this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel. This is Leadership Mindset, a place where you can come for free and fun videos about everything that you need to know for you to become a pilot or stay proficient. Because I want you to feel what pilots all over the world feel when we swinging, hey, and banging that thing. Love you one time. Subscribe to this channel.